What would it feel like to be truly, deeply happy, regardless of your circumstances? Did you know that happiness is a choice and not a result? That you can create your life on purpose? Join us now to learn more. This is the Time to Rise and Thrive radio show. And here's your host, mindset coach, and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. It's Friday. How does it get better than Fridays? Don't you love? I love Fridays. So you are with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. And today we have a very interesting show. We are talking about happiness is an inside job. Did you know that? Did you know that your choices, your way of being, your mindset is the thing that will determine whether you are deeply happy with yourself and your life, or whether you are one of those people that kind of blows with the wind and something goes wrong and, oh my God, everything's wrong. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I can't pull it up, but I want to just sort of ask you to look right behind me here. So that sign is something that I picked up for myself. I've got them all over my office. And this is here's a free golden nugget for you. This is one of the things that I do. I see things that matter, that sort of spark me, that make me feel joyful, that make me feel something. And I bring them home. And then I put them up all over the place. So this actually says, happiness is not a destination. It's a way of life. Did you know that? So what we're going to be talking today is this idea of like creating that for yourself, of creating that mindset, fostering that belief system so that even when things go really off the rails, because they do, and there's nothing we can do to change that, even when things go really off the rails, you can hold on to that happiness. You can get through anything. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. So that's what we're doing today. So what do we do on Time to Rise and Thrive? Every Friday, we are here, 1 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what the time zones are. I'm going to let you figure that out. You're smart. And how do I know that? Because you're here. Every Friday, we have the show. And what we talk about on the show is all kinds of wonderful stuff. We talk about subliminal soundtrack, and I'll explain that in a moment. We talk about recognizing your unique beauty, your value, the contribution that you are to the people around you, to the world in general. We talk about how to shift things when maybe they're not working so well for us. So if you're looking for a place to go where you can hear positive things, that might help you shift your belief in yourself or in the world in general, this is a great place to be. I'm just saying, Friday afternoons, every Friday we're here. So with this subliminal soundtrack, I'm going to share with you what that means, and then we're going to get into the content of today's show. So subliminal soundtrack is what I call this loop of messages that plays in the back of your mind all day, every day. Now, it's very important. It's very, very important. And it's made up of little bits of information that we've picked up throughout the course of our lives. So every conversation you've had, every relationship you've been a part of, every lesson you've learned, every single experience that you have had from birth to this point in your life has given you little bits of information that have helped you create that subliminal soundtrack. We use that information to create our belief systems about ourselves, about the world in general, about what is possible, about what's available. So what does it mean to love or be loved? What does it mean to have money or not? What does it mean to be successful? All of those things are wrapped up in those belief systems that we carry back there on the subliminal soundtrack. So there are two sort of uncomfortable truths that we need to be aware of when we're talking about subliminal soundtrack. The first of which is that what we believe to be true will be true for us, even if it's based on completely incorrect information. The second is that we create our circumstances to support the belief systems that we have. So those belief systems back there are very important. They will influence every part of your life. What kind of a job do you go after? What kind of a career do you choose? What kind of relationships do you bring into your world? What is money like in your world? Every single thing is based on those belief systems. Today, we're going to talk about, it's going to be kind of a comparison of two of those ways of being in that mindset, in that subliminal soundtrack, two sort of polar opposites of the belief systems that you could carry. Okay, that's what we're talking about today. So many of us believe, I'm going to read this one. I don't normally do this, but I'm going to read this one because the wording is very important. Okay. Many of us believe that when something happens, we will finally be happy. That new job, that new raise, that relationship, that blah, blah, whatever it is, fill in the blank. That thing is going to change our circumstances and create happiness. The truth is that your happiness has nothing to do with outside forces or with circumstances, because happiness is an inside job. If you want to be truly happy, you have to create the mindset that supports it. And here's the really great news. You can do that. You just need to make a choice. You just need to make a choice. Isn't that exciting? We have so much more power, so much more. Oh, there's a word that I just can't get. We have so much more than we realize sometimes. When we start to understand that and start choosing, start purposely creating the circumstances, purposely creating the relationships, purposely creating the money flows, the possibilities, the opportunities, all of that kind of stuff, everything in your life will change. I promise you. I used to live that way. So this is how I know. I know that for a large portion of my life, and I'll share probably some of that as we go through the show today, but for a large part of my life, I didn't understand this. I was that person who was like, oh my God, life is so hard. Oh my God, this happened. Oh no. Oh no. Right. I don't know if you're that kind of a person. I used to be that kind of a person. And if you're not, I'm pretty sure you probably know one or two. I know many. I know many, but I'm working on changing that. So we don't have to live at the mercy of our circumstances. We don't have to live at the mercy of, pardon me, the people in our lives or their moods or their, their choices and decisions. We don't have to live at the mercy of anyone or anything. We can choose to create the circumstances that will bring us joy, create the relationships that will bring us laughter and fun and play and whatever else it is that you're looking for in those relationships. We can choose to create that. And that's why I'm here every single Friday. I understand what it is to live in that limitation, that space where it just doesn't seem possible. I know what that is. And I'm now on a mission to share with people because I've learned that it's not necessary for us to stay there. There's a different way of doing things. So when we're talking about this, how does the subliminal soundtrack relate to this idea? I'm sorry, I've got a frog in my throat today. Hopefully I don't croak all the way through. If you believe that how you feel about yourself or your life is dependent on things outside of yourself, you will always be searching for the thing that will create your happiness. But if you believe that happiness is a state of mind, a way of life, if you believe that, and it has nothing to do with whatever is happening around you, you will work with that, whatever circumstances you have, but you will not allow yourself to live there. You will not allow yourself to be at the mercy of those things. You will also foster the belief systems that support living in a state of happiness. We have so much more power and control than we understand. So, how does this look? Let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about this thing. So, your subliminal soundtrack, as I said, this really is it controls everything. It controls everything. And I mean, some of that stuff we want it to control, right? We want our heart to keep beating. We want our lungs to keep breathing. We want all of our body parts to do the things that they're supposed to do. So there's some of that stuff that we don't want to change. And also there's some of that messaging that even though it came as the result of a difficult thing or a painful lesson, maybe it helped us to change things to propel toward what we do want to create in our lives. So we don't want to mess around with those things. What we want to play around with is the ones that are limiting us, that are creating those blockages, those limitations or limiting beliefs, whatever language you want to use. We want to work with those ones and break them apart so that we can create new ones that will help us achieve the things we really do desire to have in our lives, because you really do deserve to have those things in your life. Is that a new idea? I didn't understand that for a long time. And again, we're going to get further into that as we go through. So what I'm just going to drop it. And I'm sorry if this is uncomfortable, but the two mindsets that we're going to be working with today are victim mindset and an empowered mindset. So you can see how those are polar opposites, right? Now, victim mindset is something, again, it's caused by the conditioning that we have, particularly when we're young. You know, those people that have these ideas that things are catastrophic, right? And we all know them. We all know them. The circumstance, oh my God, this has happened, and that means whatever, right? And they often will go 5 miles ahead before they even have all of the information, right? The thing about a victim mindset is that it's all about the things that are happening out there. We're seeking outside validation for everything, for how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive our lives, how we perceive our circumstances, what we think about, you know, the whatever comes up. Whatever comes up. I mean, there is no way that we are going to walk through this life without having difficult circumstances that come up from time to time. Hopefully it's not all the time, but there's no way that that's going to happen. We all face these different things that are very painful. You know, loss of people, and it could be death, it could be illness, it could be people have moved away, it could be breakdown in relationships, it could be anything. But that is one of the big ones for a lot of us, is the loss of people in our lives, the grief that comes with that, the loss that comes with that, the pain that comes with that experience. So again, now that's the victim mindset. So we're at the mercy of the outside circumstances, right? But when we adopt an empowered mindset, then we understand things in a completely different way. We understand that these circumstances, these painful, difficult things that happen are temporary. We understand that everything in life is temporary, right? And think about it. Like there's a natural flow that happens in the world, in nature, in the universe, and everywhere, isn't there? There's a natural flow. And think about the seasons. The seasons are all temporary. Our way of being is all temporary. Having a beautiful baby is a temporary experience because they grow and change. Do you see what I'm saying? Every single thing in life is temporary. So when we have that perception, it can make it easier for us to, I want to say, get through the difficult things. And there's a better way to say that. I'm sorry, that's the best I've got right now. But to get through those difficult circumstances, because we know that it's a temporary thing, there will be another side. Now, we might have to do some work in the middle of it, and that's okay. But we know that there's another side. We know that life is not over just because something difficult has happened. We understand things in a completely different way. So we choose what we bring into our lives. We choose this, okay? And we're going to get more into this when we start talking about radical personal responsibility. Radical personal responsibility requires us to understand that our circumstances are very often, and not always, but very often, the result of choices that we've made. We don't spend our time, we don't waste our time beating ourselves up over it, but it's important to get a clear understanding and to take responsibility for those things. Okay, so those are some of the things that we are working with. The difference between that victim mindset and that radical personal responsibility that helps you to have an empowered mindset are polar opposite for those reasons. Okay, we're not running around going, oh my God, the sky is falling. We go, okay, these are the circumstances that I'm dealing with right now. What is necessary? What's required right now? What do I need to do right now? What's my next step? So do you see the difference? There's an energy of like helplessness versus, okay, we've got this. Completely different way of being, isn't it? Yes. Okay, so we're going to head to our first break. You are with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. And when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation about how to foster a deep, lasting happiness that is not dependent on anyone or anything but you. So stick with us for a moment. We will be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Time to Rise and Thrive show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. Today we are talking about happiness is an inside job. Yes. Yes. Would you like more happiness in your life? I have yet to actually have somebody answer no to that question. Who wouldn't, right? Who doesn't like to laugh and play and have fun? One of the things, so I'm just going to sort of bring us back to where we were before we went to our break. One of the things that I talked about on last week's show, I had a very interesting conversation with a person I'm working with, and we were talking about this idea of having different phases in our lives, and somehow or other, it kind of came around to midlife crisis. Now, we're both not young. Neither one of us is young. And, it's something that I've thought an awful lot about, this idea of midlife crisis. Have you ever noticed that the people who seem to be hit the hardest, the people who seem to really go off the rails around midlife, are the people who don't feel really great about what they've done so far? And I know, I'm sorry, that sounds harsh, but it's true, right? Like they don't have this like, oh, look what I've accomplished in my life, right? Or maybe they don't have that thing that they're like looking forward to. They don't have that thing that they're like, oh yeah, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Are you kidding me? The people that seem to struggle the most, in my humble opinion and experience, are the people who don't really have a whole lot to look forward to. Now, for me, it's not even hard because I do the show every Friday, and I intend to do this for a very long time, by the way, just so you know right now. I have a career. I love the work that I do. So for me, I'm excited. I'm like, wow, what is going to happen over the next year or 5 or 20? What is going to happen? What do I want to create? And I've also developed that mindset, right? I've also developed the mindset that goes, oh my God, what is possible for me out there, man? Where would I like to visit? What would I like to do? What kinds of things might I like to try that I haven't yet tried in my life? I think I saw Christine post a comment on Gordon's show just before mine that she had tried skydiving. Christine, how old were you, if you don't mind me asking? And she's gonna smack me. How old were you when you went skydiving? Just out of curiosity. Oh, she's not answering. Okay. So see, this is the thing. There are so many. Oh, she was 48. See, 48 years old when she decided to jump out of a plane for the first time. And did you love it? Did it empower you? Did it make you feel, or did it scare the crap out of you? Because I don't know if I could do it in all honesty. She said yes, yes. So this is the thing. Even when you get to like 50 years old, there's still so much out there to experience. There's still so much that you can look forward to. And I feel like that's the biggest difference, right? If I look back at what I've accomplished to date in my life, let's go back to that victim mindset, okay? If I look back at what's happened in my life to date, there are so many places where I could say, oh my God, right? Like this person did that and that person did this and oh my God, and who were they? And then, right? Oh man, I could roll around it if I wanted to, but I can't, I don't have time for that shit. I don't have time for that shit. I have shit to do. I have fun to have. I have new people to meet and have adventures with. I have so many other things to think about. What's the difference? I have an empowered mindset. Now, this didn't happen accidentally. This is something I had to work on, right? And one of the things that is really interesting is when you hire somebody to help you with these sorts of things, what you're paying for is all of the knowledge that they have gained that you don't already have. That's really what it boils down to, right? So you're paying them to guide you in a process that they've already walked, they've already learned, they've already experienced. That's the thing that happens when you hire a coach to work with to help you with some of these things. And of course, that's what I do. I love this work. I'm going to tell you, there is very little on this planet. There are a few things, but very little on this planet that gives me more joy than watching someone's face light up when they understand that they have a choice. That is one of the happiest moments for me. This is why I love what I do. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what, so I don't ever, in all honesty, I don't ever perceive that I'm going to have one of those midlife crises that knock me flying or knock my life completely off track. Just doesn't make sense. But there are things that come up, right? We lose people. We already talked about that. Maybe we go through financial challenges. There's been a lot of stuff going on with the COVID and jobs and businesses closing and all kinds of that stuff that is completely outside of our control. It happens. There's nothing we can do to insulate or protect ourselves or whatever from those factors. They're outside of us. There's nothing we can do. Okay. We also maybe face health challenges. I've been sick for the last few years, and now that I'm getting my strength back, I'm starting to understand really how rotten I felt. You know, I didn't even understand that. So there are things that come up that they're outside of our control, and we can't do a lot to change them, but we do get to change how we be with them. So the empowered mind, again, understands that everything is temporary. Okay. Everything. It also understands that when things feel really uncomfortable, what we need to do is we need to process so that we can release those things and move on. Okay. The empowered mind is not, it's not sitting in it. Do you understand? The empowered mind is looking forward, looking toward the other side. Okay. The victim mindset. The victim mindset is probably going to lay down and roll around in it. Now, again, there's outside validation, and there are sometimes, and I'm going to be really honest, this is actually kind of embarrassing almost to say at this point, but sometimes we gain a feeling of importance because of the challenges that we're facing. Do you understand what I'm saying? We get attention. We get attention for the difficulties that we are facing in our lives sometimes. And that was, in all honesty, you know, it's embarrassing to say, but that was one of the things that I lived with for a very long time. And I want to share with you actually a really great story. It's a really great story. It was a massive breakthrough moment for me, massive. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for the moment. I'm grateful for the woman who kicked my ass through it. Yes. Okay. So, circumstances in a nutshell. My sister was killed in a car accident about 12 years ago. There was a part of me that really, really, really couldn't get back up on my feet after that happened. And it was hard to be in that space. And I didn't want to be in that space. But that was where I had to deal with my stuff, right? I had to unpack a lot of the crap that I've been carrying around my entire life. And until I was willing and ready to do that, that stuff just was sitting there. And it's like, you've got a great big heavy weight on your back. You're carrying that and you're trying to keep going. That's where I was at. So my husband at the time, he and I went away for a weekend. And while we were at this cabin, I was thinking about a lot of stuff. And I crafted the most amazing story. Such a good one, bulletproof. Anybody who argues with me on this point is nothing more than an ass. And that's it. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm thinking about this and I'm like, I know what's wrong with me. I want you to pay attention to my language, please. I know what's wrong with me. I haven't grieved my sister's death. I'm still hurting. I'm still in full grief over the loss of my sister. Okay, now you see how I'm being with this, right? Because the fact of the matter was that wasn't completely true. There was a lot of stuff in my life that was not working well, and I was not willing to face it. So I looked for that one thing that would make sense to everybody else, right? Oh, she's still grieving the loss of her sister. We can't, no. We got to give her some space. We've got to give her some love, right? Remember what I said? Sometimes we get attention because of the difficult circumstances that we're facing. So I went into this class with this with these facilitators. They are beautiful women. I'm not going to name them because I'm not sure if they would appreciate that. But I went into this class one day and I had my story so beautifully crafted. I know what's wrong with me. So I sat down in class, and sometime in the span of this session, there was an opportunity for this to come up. And so I shared it, of course, because we always share it, right? Because we'll get maybe a little bit more love. You don't keep that kind of thing hidden, do you? No, you want the attention, you want the love, you want the whatever it is that you want. So I'm sitting in the class and I was like, figured it out. I finally know what's wrong. Blah, blah. Here it is. And, and one of those facilitators, God, I love her. She says, nope, I'm not buying it. And I went, what? How could you possibly? No. So her and I, we actually went back and forth, and I am so grateful for her because she didn't let me get away with it. She held, yes, Christine, it was Sabina. She held my feet to the fire. She was not having it. She could see me. And this is also the beautiful thing about working with someone who's got some outside skill, experience, and all that kind of stuff. She could see who I was. She could see that I was making an excuse. She could see that I had so much more to give, to offer, to do in my world than I was allowing myself. I was making excuses so that I did not have to do those things. Do you see what I'm saying? And thank God for her, because she wasn't having it. And what came out at the end of that was the breakthrough. The breakthrough was that I was a very unhappy woman. Things in my life were not working. They were not working. And I did not want to face that because I knew that the fixes were going to be hard and they were going to be painful. I didn't want to go through it. I was trying to avoid it. So I created this story that made perfect sense until she called me out. And I'm so grateful she did. I'm so grateful because I probably, in all honesty, I probably could have carried that one for a few years if I'd wanted to. And I never would have actually accomplished the things that I needed to accomplish. I wouldn't have dealt with the things that I needed to deal with in order to move past that space in my life and be here with you today. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what's the difference? In that phase, I was in victim mindset. In this phase, I'm an empowered mindset. Okay. I'm no longer willing to make excuses for lack of performance. I am no longer willing to make excuses for lack of follow through, for lack of whatever. I'm no longer willing to make excuses. I will now go, here's what I'm dealing with, and do what needs to be done. What is required for me to deal with these circumstances so that I can get on with my life, so that I can get on with the happy, happy, joy, joy. Do you understand? Yes. So this is the whole thing. Sometimes for us to get there, it's necessary for us to drop our own bullshit and thank God for the people who call us out on it. Because without that woman that day, I have no idea what would have happened. I am so incredibly grateful for her brilliant coaching me through that moment and not letting me continue. I'm so grateful for that. So we have to head to our next break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation about how to create happiness, that deep, lasting kind that is not dependent on anyone or anything outside of yourself. So you're with us on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. My mouth is not working now. I am your host, Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. And when we come back, we're going to continue this very important conversation. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? Our subliminal soundtrack plays in the back of our minds 24/7. It's filled with everything we've ever learned about money, relationships, body, and sexuality, about every single aspect of our lives. If you don't have what you desire, the Subliminal Soundtrack Reset program may be the very key to changing it all. In this 8-week program, designed by Jackie Mott, you'll learn to replace messages that stop your desires with new ones that not only support you in creating what you truly desire, but expand your life to higher levels of joy and pleasure. Go to phoenixcoach.ca. Begin creating your life on purpose.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you through Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows along with thousands of podcasts. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Time to Rise and Thrive show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott. Today we are talking about happiness is an inside job. So I'm just going to take a moment right now to ask you to go and grab yourself a pen and paper if you haven't already. And if you're watching us on live, then you can always go back and find us on inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can find me on Facebook, Jackie Mott, Mindset and Empowerment Expert. And I'm pretty good about posting the links for the show the next day when they come out. Yeah, just go on your on demand, whatever your favorite on demand channels are, and you can find the recordings. And then you can also look at the other options that are available. We've had some pretty good shows, just saying. So if you like what we're talking about, feel free to go back and have a look. Have a look and see what else might be there that might spark your interest or give you a little bit of a laugh or something. Remember, we all would like a little bit more laughter in our lives, wouldn't we? Yes. So the result, I'm just going to share with you the result of this conversation, because I'm not going to talk about what happened in my life, but now that's going to be, I'm going to say probably 10 years ago, that conversation. So over that 10-year period, there has been a lot of shifting, a lot of changing, a lot of really necessary things have happened. And that is a direct result of this person who held my feet to the fire that day. Do you understand? It's a direct, I will be in gratitude to her for the rest of my life, because without that having happened, all of those dominoes would not have fallen. Okay. All of those dominoes fell because she would not let me buy into my own bullshit anymore. And so what has happened is, over that period, as I've learned and grown and changed and studied and taken courses and read books and all of those sorts of things, is I've learned a lot of stuff. And now I'm in a position where it's so exciting, because now we're here. I'm here on this show every Friday. I've got new offerings that are coming out. We're getting very close to launching on Monthly Mindset Masterclass, which is coming out in October, and it is going to be fantastic. And the Believe All Things Are Possible program is also going to be launching at the same time. So all of this learning that I have done over the 10 years as a result of that person not letting me, get away with it, all of that learning is now being condensed into these programs that I can bring to the world and share. And my mission is to help people understand that they have a choice, to help people understand that they don't have to live with circumstances that they're not excited about or happy about. They don't have to. I mean, you can, and I have no judgment. If that's what you choose, have at her. If it makes you happy, wonderful. But you don't have to. Okay, that's the mission. That is the important part of my work, my world. Yes, it's so bloody exciting. So, oh yes, and Christine, I've got to give Christine a little bit of a shout out really quick. She is our fearless leader here at Inspired Choices Network, and she has actually I don't even know how she's done it. I'm not even going to try to talk like I know, but we are now on over 450 platforms, including the Inspired Choices Network mobile app, Binge Network, Apple something or other. There's so many out there. So wherever you like to go and listen to things, you can probably find us. Just search Jackie Mott or Time to Rise and Thrive, Inspired Choices Network, whatever. Search one of those things and you are very likely to find all of the shows that we have recorded. And we are now at over 100. I don't even know the exact number, but we're definitely over 100 now. So now let's dig in. So this is the how portion. Okay. If you're new to the show, this is the time I always encourage you to have a pen and paper handy, because we've talked about the what, and now we're going to talk about the how do you do it. So how do you foster this happiness? How do you do this? First thing, this is a life changer. Okay. I call it practicing purposeful gratitude. Practicing purposeful gratitude. Okay. What that means is that you recognize the things that you have, and it could be anything. This could be traits about you. I'm so glad that I am strong enough to withstand, or that I bring peace to people, or that people love to whatever, to be around me because I'm funny, or whatever it is for you, right? I'm so glad that I have that thing to give. It could be, I'm so grateful that I have these people in my life. It could be, I'm so glad that I have this family or this home or anything. Okay. When we practice purposeful gratitude, we put our focus on the things that we have that make our lives better. Okay. And again, it could be people, it could be anything. We put our focus on those things. Now, there's a couple of steps to this, and I'm going to give you those steps really quickly because I've talked a little bit too much. Okay. So think about what you have. That's the first step. Now think about what you don't have. And what I'm talking about is this: if you are safe, if you are relatively healthy, if you have people and things in your life that bring you joy, you are very, very fortunate. There are many people out there who don't have those things. Okay. And there was a moment years ago when I was walking out the door to go to work, I think. And I had this moment where I'm stepping out the door and somehow, maybe it was around 9/11, somehow it dawned on me that I am so freaking blessed to live in a place where I don't have to worry about a bomb going off when I step out my door, that I don't have to worry about my people making it home safe and sound. You know, it had never really, I mean, anyway, these are things that are not part of my day-to-day life. There are people that live with those things. I'm so very blessed that those are things that I don't need to deal with. Do you see what I'm saying? So I want you to really, really take a moment and think about those blessings. Okay. Count your blessings. Think about the things that you have that bring you joy, that bring you laughter, that bring you comfort, that bring you love, that bring you whatever those things are that are of value to you. Could even be think I've got this job that pays me money, that helps me to provide a lifestyle that do you see what I'm saying? Whatever it is. So take the moment and count your blessings. Okay. And then as you go through this, there are a few things that you can do to juice it up just a little bit. So I'm going to ask you, when you think about a person or a thing that you have this gratitude for, really let yourself feel it. Really roll around in like, what is it that that person brings to my life? What is it that that thing allows me to do? How do I feel as a result of that person's or this circumstance in my life? Do you see what I'm saying? Think about the why and the how and the thing that they bring to the table that you would not have without them. Okay. Roll around in that and really let yourself feel grateful for that. Okay. If they weren't there, if that thing wasn't there, I wouldn't have that. So roll around in it, like just stay there as long as you can. And by the way, this is a really great tip. If you find yourself kind of going off the rails and into a difficult place, think of three things. Okay. Roll around in that for 5 minutes. I promise you, you'll feel better. I promise you. Gratitude and, depression or those really ugly feelings cannot survive in the same space. So if you're focusing on gratitude, the other stuff, it can't survive there. Okay. Second thing, radical personal responsibility. We've been talking about this a little bit as we've gone through the show. So uncomfortable truths coming. Ready? You are 100% responsible for the choices you make and for whatever consequences those choices produce. I know it's true. When you get there, when you get to a place where you can acknowledge, this is my responsibility. It's my responsibility to not do dumb shit. It's my responsibility to make good choices for myself. That's a much better way of saying it, isn't it? But the other way was fun too. We are responsible for making the choices that will help us. And if we make the choices that will hinder us, that's also our responsibility. Okay. So the really great news in that is that you're the person who gets to choose. So if you're unhappy with the results of whatever it is that you're doing, make a different choice, choose something different, see what else is possible that can change because you've made a different choice. Do you understand what I'm saying? You get to choose. No one can make you feel anything without your permission. No one can make you feel anything without your permission. Okay. Also, and that doesn't feel good, does it? But it's true. So when you are in this space where something has happened, somebody's done something, somebody said something, and you're in that place, remember that no one can make me feel anything without my permission. So there's this meme that I've seen and I absolutely love it. Every time I see it, it makes me laugh because it is so very true. I'm totally going to butcher it because I don't remember exactly how the words go, but stop getting mad at the clowns when you're the one who keeps going to the circus. Uh-huh. That is radical personality in a nutshell. Okay. So number 3, you've got to forgive yourself. You've got to forgive yourself. There are things that we do, and most of us are usually trying to do the best we can. Okay. We learn, we grow, things change because we have learned and grown, and we will do differently now than we did before as a result of that. So Maya Angelou, there's somebody that talks about that in depth, and I absolutely loved it. So we do better when we know better, we do better, something like this. So forgive yourself for the choices that you made before that created the circumstances. And again, remember, you don't have to stay in those circumstances. You can shift things. You can, even if the only thing that you can change is your attitude and the way that you are being in those circumstances. Sometimes that's all that needs to happen for things to lighten up and get much easier. Okay. So forgive yourself for the things that have happened. We have to deal with the consequences of what we've done, the choices that we've made, but we do not have to live there. Number 4, eyes front. Eyes front. Remember how I was talking about that conversation that I had with my colleague, and I have things to look forward to. I don't have time to worry about the things from the past, right? I have too much to do. I have too many things to experience. I have too many fun things that could happen for me. Okay, eyes front. You cannot do anything about the things that have happened before. You can't change the things you've said. You can't change the things you've done. If you need to make amends, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would highly encourage if you need to do that. But eyes front, focused forward, okay? The last thing that I'm going to share with you on this particular subject is this: remember gratitude. Remember to be grateful for the people and things in your life that give, just be with me for a moment in this, okay? Have you ever been around a person who just brings different flavor into your life? Have you ever had a person like that where it's just different? It's a different experience with them than it has been with someone else, right? Like, and it could be anything. It could be anything, but even going for a drive, right? If you have a friend that, like, one of my girlfriends and I were thinking about this the other day. We've known each other since we were like, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, something like this. And we were talking about when we used to be teenagers and drive to the beach, right? Windows down, tunes blaring, all whatever, cute, right? We were talking about that. And I think about that and I'm like, how many times have I been in a car with somebody? And how many times have I been in a car with somebody and had that experience? So those people bring a different flavor to your life, right? To your experiences. And how freaking blessed are you to have that person who makes you laugh or hugs you in a way that you just feel that love flowing right out of them and into you. Do you know those people? If you don't know those people, my friend, please go find someone. Go find, and if you don't have someone else, please contact me. Please, I'm here. And I just love to love on people. It really is one of the things I live for. I absolutely love to share those things and make things juicy and yummy and fun. Yeah, you can find me. Like I said, you can find me at JackieMott.com. You can find me on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can find me on Facebook at Jackie Mott Mindset and Empowerment Expert. You can find me all over the place. And of course, here every Friday afternoon. So if you need a boost and I'm just going to throw this out there. I have what do we call it? An Unstoppable You intensive session that I offer. Now this is valued at 197, but I if you are someone who needs to talk, man, reach out to me, please. The first 5 of you who go to www.bookacallwithjackie.com. That's www.bookacallwithjackie.com. The first 5 of you who go and do that right now, I'm going to give you as my gift to you for taking action. Okay. I will give you one of these sessions, the Unstoppable You intensive session, and we will talk about how you can start to bring some of those circumstances into your life so that you can have that thing that I was just talking about, that different flavor, that enjoyment, that like I don't even care what it is. If you're not experiencing that, www.bookacallwithjackie.com. 5 of you will get a free session with me, and we'll talk about how you can start creating that. What do you think? Yes. See, it gives me so much joy and pleasure to do this stuff. It's exciting. I love being with you. I love being with you on Friday afternoons. I love talking to people about this stuff. I love watching and experiencing breakthroughs with people. I love, love, love all of that. All of that. If I could do it for free, if I could live for free, I don't know. There's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of us out there that really just love what we do so much that we probably would do it for free, unfortunately, or fortunately. Anyway, we're here. We're here and absolutely awesome. So here's the thing, my friends. Happiness is an inside job. Remember this. And I wish I could tell you where to find it, but you know what? You could create something. You could go on even on a Word document and create something pretty that you could post on your wall or on your desk or wherever. Happiness is not a destination. It is a way of life. You get to choose. You get to choose how you feel. I know. I know. It is something that blew my mind when it really landed, when I really got that through my thick head, that I don't have to be at the mercy of the circumstances that are going on in my life. I don't have to be at the mercy of the mood of that person who shares my home or who shares my workspace or what. I don't have to anything. I get to choose. I get to choose where I'm going to be, where I'm not. I get to choose what I'm going to expose myself to and what I'm not. I get to choose, and I choose happy. 99.9% of the time, I choose happy. And that's why you see this. Okay. You can choose that too. So here is the final thought that I would like to leave you with today. Happiness is an inside job. You can choose to allow outside forces to dictate how you feel about yourself and your life, or you can choose to create an empowered mindset and create a life filled with people and things that bring you joy, regardless of what's happening around you. When you focus on love and gratitude, you will naturally create a deep and lasting sense of happiness. It's up to you. What do you choose? What do you choose, my friends? It's all up to you. So that's what I have for you today. That's all of our time. I know. I wish I could sit here and talk to you all day. So thank you so much for being with me. I really do enjoy being here. I thank you so much for your time, your energy, your contribution to my day, to my world. I love doing this, and I sincerely hope that I get to continue doing this for a very, very, very long time. Next week's show, I just got to tell you, I'm excited about this. We have a very special guest next week, Linda Sunshine West. Linda is an author. She is a CEO. She has a whole bunch of really wonderful things. And she has a starting over story that she's going to share with us next week on the show. I'm very excited to spend that time with her. She has been an inspiration to me, and I haven't known her very long, but she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to share that space with her next Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. What is it? 12? I don't even know. 12 noon something. I don't know. You know your time zones. You're smart. You're smart. Okay. So Next week, join us for Linda with her starting over story. I can't wait to hear it. And again, thank you so much for being with us on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. Again, I am your host, Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. So grateful for you. So grateful for your time. So grateful for the team that supports me on the show every week. Thanks again. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And remember, it is your time to rise and thrive.
Thank you for joining us for Time to Rise and Thrive radio show. Jackie Mott will return next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Have a fantastic week, and remember, it's your time to rise and thrive.